talk instead about artificial intelligence, which has quickly become a godsend for students, a headache for schools and universities, and a lightning rod for political controversy. And the problem is closer to home than we may think, with Rishi Sunak's advisor on artificial intelligence warning that AI systems will be powerful enough to kill many humans within 2 years. CEO and entrepreneur Matt Clifford is helping the Prime Minister set up an AI task force and says policymakers should be prepared for a wave of new threats that could arise if mankind doesn't find a way to control the technology. Experts caution that AI could be used to launch cyber attacks, design chemical and biological weapons, and says there's a longer-term risk the technology could lead to the extinction of humanity. It's beginning to sound like the plot of a Hollywood blockbuster. But new technology is always feared. When the railways came in, they thought that going above 20 miles an hour would suffocate you. When they first split the atom, they worried that once you split one, it would never stop. So the risk is not that we're all destroyed by it, but that we don't embrace it. To reap the benefits of AI, we must recognise that the risks don't come from students using ChatGPT for homework help or someone using it to write a CV. The danger comes if China has it and we do not. But let's examine this with my eminent panel of barrister and former Conservative MP Jerry Hayes and the legendary broadcast journalist Michael Crick. So, Jerry, you've been barracking me about this because you think this is basically boring and you're not interested in AI. So I'll go to Michael.
Look.
Michael. Ooh, Michael. Do you think we should be worried, or is this just classic?
I think we should
You're all doomed.
I think we should be exceedingly worried, and I think there is a very strong chance that we will destroy ourselves through AI, if not through global warming, or probably a combination of the two. But let's concentrate on AI for the time being. The trouble is, you mentioned the analogy of the railways or nuclear weapons. The trouble is that you weren't creating new mines there, and effectively we are creating new mines here, and we are creating new mines that within a year or two are going to be superior to any mine on the planet, even yours, Jacob. And that is worrying, because those mines may well have the inclination to subjugate us or to destroy us. They may find us a nuisance. And the analogy with the railways and nuclear power, certainly, and nuclear weapons as well, is that we found ways to regulate them. But it took a while. And there are, with all sorts of regulations on the railways, you probably think too many. And certainly there are in terms of nuclear energy and nuclear weapons. We have got to think of ways of regulating AI pretty quickly. And the trouble is, as you say, that our enemies are going to develop it all the same.
We need to have the best AI as soon as possible, and if we start regulating it now, we will simply stop its growth.
Well, the regulation doesn't mean necessarily stopping its growth. What it needs to be regulated to stop it overcoming us as the human race.
Now, Jerry, Michael's explained why it's interesting.
Yes, how do you regulate your enemies? Because the difficulty is...
You compete.
Look, if Russia wants to do it, they'll do it. If China wants to do it, they'll do it. Not in our interests, but in their best interests. You will have... what's the difference between a British soldier and an AI soldier? At the end of the day, the British soldier will say, I'm not going to kill that child. AI, destroy your enemy. Now, we've had the situation in the United States of America whereby there was a drone, and the drone was programmed to say, we will not actually, we won't stop our program. And they killed the person who sent that drone off, because he said it was wrong to do so. Now, that is...
Well, so a drone kills its own inventor. Has this actually happened, or is this...
No, it's just happened. It was in the Times, so it must be true.
Well, usually things are in the Times true, but occasionally even Homer nods.
Yeah. And the problem of how you attribute responsibility and how you hold AI minds to account... I mean...
Well, you can't.
Exactly. If an AI computer or a robot or whatever goes out and murders 3 people... Well, what does the law do about this? Does it prosecute the machine, which would be absurd, or the person who owns the machine?
Well, it would be manslaughter.
Or perhaps the robot has disowned its owner. There are all sorts of fascinating problems and really serious problems.
They can have a completely independent life without any of us to control them. So,
like plants and animals do.
Simplistically, why don't you unplug them?
Well, you might be able to do that.
Because they
but
won't allow them to be unplugged, like 2001.
You see,
Remember
this is where I think we're getting into sci-fi
I think it's possible also.
and
Yeah.
just becoming too paranoid about it.
No, it's
That
not.
we will have the ultimate control over anything we create.
Well, that is what we need to achieve through regulation. The regulation that you're not very keen on. I mean,
I think regulation at this stage will stifle rather than protect.
It's a beginning.
I think you know, the history of so many things, including global warming, and I know you don't really believe in global warming, has been that if you delay and delay and delay, the problem gets worse. And for instance, it was occurring to me last night, there is nothing to stop an AI computer or a robot or whatever, I'm not using the right terms, I know, from, you know, committing frauds against all of us, clever frauds on the internet, and assembling a vast fortune. And being a separate financial entity.
But how does it expend this fortune? We can't buy fast cars or buy dinners.
You're a finance man. You understand how the stock market works.
Yeah.
And you've seen how sometimes rogue algorithms completely distort the market. And then humans have to go in.
But the problem with algorithms is that they don't have enough data to go on. That's why in 2008 they failed. It's why the algorithm to give exam results a couple of years ago failed during the pandemic. It's because they're not sophisticated enough. And that's the advantage humans will always have, that we can fill in gaps, whereas AI will always need to be searching for some form of...
Well, AI will gradually fill in those gaps as well. There won't be many gaps left, I suspect. You know, maybe even in my life, you know, maybe in 20, 25 years, there may not be many gaps left. I mean, a lot of those gaps are being filled very, very rapidly. This is happening much more rapidly than the railways or nuclear power or nuclear weapons. That's the other worrying thing. I mean, I think the Prime Minister is right to make this a major priority.
But he's not going to get any international agreement.
This is the problem.
He may get the US and the EU to agree.
Yeah, I know.
He's not going to get China to agree. He's not going to get Russia to agree.
I mean,
North Korea.
One of the things surely we have to do is we have to program everything to say, you know, everything you do must be in the interests of the human race, or something along those lines.
Yes.
But is there anything then to stop
that?
To overcome that?
But you and I disagree on what is going to be in the interests of the human race.
I know.
I think that there are different policy precepts, and therefore why should...
Well, we wouldn't disagree, I don't think, on... for instance, preserving human life, although actually we might do that.
I'm very strongly against euthanasia, and I don't know what your views are, but I think you should preserve life to the end of
we might not be far apart on that, but anyway, but I agree. There are lots of people who do disagree with you and me on a lot. Nobody has the same views on... But so it is tricky.
Even on life.
It is very, very tricky. But, I mean... We've got to come up with something to stop these people these entities getting out of hand.
I think this is a great opportunity, and that humanity will be able to control AI.
Why do you say that?
Why? Because if we've invented it, we will know how to switch it off. We will have been the people behind the program.
Don't know. You see, we invented nuclear weapons. We can't disinvent them.
We can't disinvent them, but they haven't been used in war, have they, since 1945?
Yeah, but that's because there are
various they're so powerful.
And they're so powerful.
It is astonishing. That's
because people recognise the risks.
Well, no, but if it...
Oh, you have little faith. I think you'd have been wearing a sandwich board saying the end of the world is nigh.
Well, I feel like doing so. But, I mean, it won't be long before, you know, an AI robot can do your job as a television presenter, and our jobs as pundits do them far better than we do, and they'll be much cheaper. In your case, anyway.
We've had artificial intelligence.
Thank you to my panel.